Hello and welcome to another episode of the Montessori Moments podcast. My name is Elias Rodriguez and I'll be your host. Today I have the pleasure of interviewing Nelly, who's worked very closely with Dr. Camp since the 90s. They met at Monarch Park, the skilled nursing facility that Dr. Camp talked about in his interview, and have been working off and on ever since. So she's very energetic, she's got a lot of energy, and I really enjoyed this interview and I hope you do as well. So without further ado, here is Nelly. Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, I'm calling from sunny Southern California. It's a little bit overcast, but it's still really nice. Where are you calling me from?
I'm calling from Northeast Ohio, Geauga County specifically.
And what kind of day is it looking like over there?
Uh, Mild, well, it's all relative, right? So it's hot, high 70s, 80 degrees because we've had such a cold, long winter that this feels hot, but it's
Oh, okay.
also probably going to rain today. So
Oh,
that'll cool things off.
that's messing with your mind a bit there.
Yeah, no, I would take this kind of day over like a snowy, cold, dark January day.
Sounds like I would agree with you completely.
It's all what you compare it to, right? I did live
Well,
in California, Southern California, and I decided that in the entire country, you have the best weather year round. That is the perfect weather.
I am
Every,
definitely in
every season
agreement.
feels good.
I think that weather and In-N-Out Burger are the two things that we are the most proud of here in Southern California.
Yeah, I miss In-N-Out. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to know it to understand. But
So fresh. Yeah.
Nelly, I've never had the pleasure of meeting you, so I wanted to kind of get to know you a bit and find out what exactly do you do with Dr. Cameron Camp? Are you working with his team?
I am. I have worked on and off with Dr. Camp since the late 90s.
Oh, wow.
When I
Okay.
was in high school, I started volunteering and then working at a nursing home, Menora Park Center for Senior Living in Beechwood, Ohio. And Dr. Camp was running the research department.
Okay.
So as I was sort of helping and working in all the different departments, I also was deciding that I was going to study psychology. And I started working as a research assistant for him, which I don't know, just really set the path in motion to continue
Awesome.
studying all these different aspects of psychology. I've moved around a lot, but each time I come back to the area, I work with him on a different research study, supporting the research, collecting data, doing, I don't know, research with him.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, so right now, um, I am a trainer. So we go into communities and train the staff on how to use Montessori methods when working with people with dementia. And that is what taught me what Montessori is. So instead of starting with the kids' introduction, I kind of went from the other direction.
I was the
And I
same
also,
way.
yeah, yeah. But then once you hear about it, I don't know if you're raising your child with some Montessori methods, but once you know about them, it's hard not to practice them because they make so much sense for everybody.
I totally agree. It's
Yeah.
now it's my son's cutting things and cooking things, and he's 3.5 years old. And I never would have even attempted that if I hadn't kind of learned about Montessori and seen some of those videos that Dr. Camp did. So,
Yeah. Everyone around us is benefiting.
agreed, even in our own lives.
Something I'm working with though that I'm finding really hard, but I know that it's an important part of this for anybody, the aspect of giving up control. I don't know,
Yeah,
some people might struggle more with it, and I
yeah.
see caregivers struggle with it,
Uh-huh.
and I see myself struggle with it, and to just trust another person and not try and control how things will end up or how they do things, and just being present and enjoying the process. That's what I'm working on. I don't know, you with a 3.5-year-old, you noticed that too.
Yes. Oh my goodness, exactly. And it's so applicable in everything. And so when you first heard about Montessori, and then he talked about it with adults, had you heard of Montessori before, or was it something that you were thinking, okay, I've only heard about this with kids?
I guess I had heard of Maria Montessori and about Montessori schools, and I knew of them as an alternative to standard educational school practices. Um, but as in my work with Dr. Camp, most of the studies that we did looked at things like engagement and how do you measure engagement and what kind of things are most engaging to a person. And that idea of being focused in something and using objective ways to measure that and increase it. I guess that's what drew me into this research pathway. And along the way, Dr. Camp was adapting the original Montessori approach to working with people with dementia, and that was part of it. And at this point, I'm looking at that bigger picture of respect, equality, dignity, and helping people find that independence and the opportunity to have control of themselves and autonomy in their lives, and how important that is to them, to all of us, in terms of feeling like we have freedom and feeling like we're enjoying our life. I brought up engagement and in terms of enjoying life and finding peace, that idea of flow. The man who researched it has a last name with a lot of consonants, starts with a C. I can't think of it, but that being in a flow state and having all of your attention in one direction and one focus. I want to spend more of my life in that state, and I want to help other people do that too.
That is awesome. Wow. It sounds like you're very passionate. It just happened to land and that was where you in high school even. And it just kind of has woven itself through your whole life, huh?
I've done a lot of other things along the way. I worked as a behavior therapist with kids with autism. I've taught psychology to college students around the country. And when I talk about these things, I feel my energy raising. And it's the kind of thing where when I work, I have more energy afterwards rather than being drained from it.
Wow. Oh,
And
wow.
I love it. I'm excited.
I don't know
Let's
how many
talk
people
about
can,
it.
I don't know how many people can say that they have more energy after working than they. That's pretty amazing.
I feel pretty blessed that I am able to reconnect with Dr. Camp so
All
many
right.
times. And yeah.
So I'm going to have to throw you one of these questions and hopefully you can come up with one, but it sounds like you have a lot of success stories. So I'd love to hear one that may have kind of been, pretty impressive or that really made an impact throughout the time that you've been in this research.
I heard you ask other people this, and I should have prepared better.
Oh, no, that's okay. We can always go back.
Yeah, I guess the first that comes to mind is in 2013, I believe, I was hired as the program manager at a memory care community that was built within that Menorah Park campus in their assisted living Stone Gardens community. It was called Helen's Place, and it was designed from the ground up to be a Montessori-based community. And we had 14 spaces and 14 people moved in. And to get to start from scratch in terms of who we're hiring to work there, and there were qualifications on who could move in terms of having like mild to moderate dementia, and to design all of the policies and programs and get things set up and to see it work. I guess the specific success story within that was just finding jobs for people and giving them social roles and making them feel like part of the community. And this woman comes to mind. I won't use her name, but she was had a lot of energy and moved on. She's very social, and I think her job that she had volunteered for was to be the person that goes around, puts the schedule in each person's mailbox that lets her say good morning to people and let them know what to expect for the day. And it was a task that used her strengths, that we could support her in, that she could do independently. She was also the person that at the start of each activity would go and invite people to join us.
Awesome.
And,
That's cool.
and as much as we could put in the hands of the residents were things that we didn't have to do ourselves, that could free us up to try and think of innovative programs to offer or opportunities to offer. And so just to see a place that's resident run that way,
It
I
sounds
want
like
to be part of that.
sounds like a fairy tale. Doesn't sound like that could be reality. So I think that is incredibly cool that it's possible.
Well, it does feel like a fairy tale, but I'm seeing it in other places. And I haven't been to Roundtree, but I hear that that's what's happening there.
It very much is. It does. It sounds like a fairy tale when you tell the story. It's the word jobs sometimes has a little bit of a negative connotation, and so when we said that they had jobs, it almost seemed like we were putting them to work. And what they failed to realize was it was a coordination in wanting to be involved in the community and how we facilitated it. And having a job actually meant more to them than just having a task. So it kind of brought pride versus a negative connotation.
And it's the difference between living in a home or living in a hotel or living in a prison or living in a hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Home is the only place where you have that sense of ownership and it's personal and you're part of making it a reality. No, it feels like a fairy tale until you see it.
Yeah.
When you talk about the term work, I think of, I don't know if it was Freud, but this idea that what people really need in life is to love and to work. Like there might be a third one. Someone can help me out. But working is such an important part of being human, being alive. I'm sure it's important to animals.
Yeah,
So,
it's really validating, and I think it gives you a little pride when you've accomplished something that you put your mind to. So I think I've seen it myself. I think it's pretty exciting, and it must be
who are we to
validating.
deprive people of that chance to feel that?
It's
We
letting
should
go
be
of some of that
enabling it.
control, right? That control, I think, was a good way of putting it. Letting go of some control is it's a little scary, and enjoying the process, but also appreciating the outcome, whether that's a positive outcome or a negative outcome that requires you to kind of modify the approach a bit. Yeah, it's a lot more fun that way.
Just see what happens.
And so your background was in psychology, or it turned out to be in psychology because of Dr. Camp, or was it always something you were leaning towards?
I think I was always into it.
Okay.
This just popped into my head. I must have been like 6, 7 years old. I remember saying to my mom, I want to invent something where we can like project people's dreams onto a screen.
Wow.
While they're sleeping or something. And now it seems a little, I don't know what to think of that.
Have you made any progress on that?
My head, because it's like my earliest memory of being interested in psychology, just like how are brains working and how do we know? I ended up majoring in psychology and philosophy. So the point where they meet is, how do we compare our experiences? How do I know that my experience of something is the same as yours? And all we have is language. And trying to find these symbols that will help us connect our experiences and hope that they match. But yeah, so I studied psychology as an undergrad while I was working with Dr. Camp as a research assistant. That's when I went to California for grad school. I went to Irvine.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, that's right in my backyard.
Is it?
Yeah.
What city are you in?
We're in Orange County in Buena Park near Knott's Berry Farm. That's kind of where I live.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Very cool.
So I spent 5 years in Irvine and I loved it. But after 5 years, I didn't appreciate it as much. And I was like,
gotcha.
Things are beautiful here. Everything's great. Why am I still unhappy? and there were a lot of jumps. I lived in Australia. I lived in DC and Baltimore. And it was just like looking for happiness outside myself, maybe.
Yeah.
But I also just love the adventure and exploring places I've never been before.
That's what I was going to say. It seems like you kind of enjoy the process and having the ability to kind of make that change work
There's
for you.
something about going somewhere where you don't know anybody and you don't know your way around, and just kind of shedding whatever it is that's not you and
That's
seeing
very
what
cool.
happens.
Yeah, that's exciting.
I did love California though.
Yeah, well, I still love it, thankfully.
Did you grow
Well,
up there? Are you from there?
yeah, I grew up here my whole life, so I'm a California boy, California bred. So I take a lot of pride in the exclusively California things. But when I've visited outside, like I went to Ohio to go visit Dr. Camp and the Center for Applied Research, and I just thought, my goodness, there's so many seasons here. There's beautiful trees, and it's very full of nature. I just did not enjoy the cold or the rain. When we talk about rain, it's basically just sprinkling.
Right.
When you guys talk about rain, it's really rain. It's actually you're completely drenched just after a few minutes.
There's something about trying everything so that you have that wider range of experiences to compare. So I don't
You
know.
appreciate things more.
California, yeah. Unless you suffer a lot in the cold, bitter winter, the summer doesn't feel the same.
There you go.
I'm so much happier in the summer. I don't know.
I think I would use that same kind of metaphor with those with dementia. Sometimes, when they've lost things or they haven't had the ability to use things in a long time, and then you offer this opportunity for them to use it again, it's almost as though they appreciate it so much more. And I think that's why you get such positive responses, because it's something that, maybe they haven't experienced in a while, and now they appreciate it even more.
Yeah, I don't know if it counts as a success story or just a success idea, but what happens when someone hasn't been given the chance to be independent or to make a choice for such a long time, and you suddenly give it to them? It's almost like a muscle that hasn't been used.
Yeah.
And it takes
they want to work it out. They want to work it out, but it takes a little while. So I wanted to switch gears just a bit and think, what would you say people would how would they describe you? If you thought people would describe you in some way, how do you think they would describe you?
You've been asking that one too. And I stumble because I think it depends on whether they like me or not.
Okay, let's go with somebody that likes you. Let's start there.
Someone that likes me, I would hope that they would say that I have a balance between like having the energy and passion, but not being too intense or overwhelming, or I try and stay like a moderate level of everything and to find that moderation in life. But yeah, I get passionate about things. Let's hope they're using that word to describe me.
There you go. That's great. I like
passionate.
that. Passionate but balanced. That's a good combo. Well, thank you so much, Nelly. It was an absolute pleasure getting to know you today.
Nice to get to know you. I hope we get to talk again soon.
Yeah, once all this kind of calms down, hopefully I'll make another trip out to Ohio at some point and maybe get to meet all the team at CARD.
Come by anytime till November. I'm sure it'll be nice here, but stay safe.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
Okay, so